Hello everyone. I hope everyone is doing good and taking good care of themselves. Today I'm going to talk about different types of narcissistic parents. Yes, we in the past have discussed and talked about what narcissism is and how a narcissist thinks and behaves. So in today's video we are going to talk about narcissistic parents and you know various types of narcissistic parents. Yeah. So before I get into the video, I would request you all to please like, share, subscribe the channel, and do comment in your experience and thoughts below. So let's start. So the first type of a narcissistic parent is the grandiose narcissistic parent. Yes, these parents, I mean the grandiose narcissistic parents, are very concerned about that grandiose image. It's all the time the big image, the big event in life, and they really force their children to do good, behave good, look good, and fit in. It should be the perfect picture. And these grandiose narcissistic parents put a lot of pressure on their kid, that they have to think a certain way, they have to do a certain way, they have to score a certain mark, they have to behave a certain way, they have to dress up a certain way. The list is endless. And it's really not about day-to-day chores and the day-to-day activities. Instead, it's all about the big event. The wedding has to be grand, and the kids have to look grand, and the parents have to look grand, and they need to have a grand story to talk about. So it's all about grandioseness, big event, big image, big things to talk about, big accomplishment of the kids. So there is a lot of this invisible pressure on the kids as it is, to meet up these standards, to meet up the expectations of the parent. Yeah, so these grandiose parents are really not concerned about the day-to-day silly bits. They are just concerned about the big day, big announcement, big achievement, big image, everything big, everything grand. That's why they are called the grandiose narcissistic parent. Yeah, GNP. And also, if you see these parents, they create a lot of pressure on the kids, uh, so that these kids match up the standard of that parent, of that grandiose narcissistic parent. They really don't care what is the individuality and the uniqueness of a child. Instead, they just burden the child to achieve this much of mark, to achieve this, to make this much of money, to look good, to, I mean, they have a long list to look, feel, and seen and heard as a grandiose, a grand, a grand image. And the child has to somewhat fit in. These grandiose narcissistic parents really don't respect the individuality of a child, and they really don't care. They are really careless when it comes to the challenges the kid faces. And also, these parents are emotionally unavailable. They are just oriented with the results, so what the child achieves, how the child does, and how well the child fits into that grand image. So they really don't care about what the child thinks, feels, and the child goes through. So this was all about a grandiose narcissistic parent. And also, grandiose narcissistic parent, they don't take any blame on themselves. They blame the partner, they blame the other parent, and they blame them if the child doesn't meet up the standards and level, and the child doesn't live up to the expectations. So they immediately blame the other parent, these grandiose narcissistic parent. So it's unhealthy. But yes, one such category is grandiose narcissistic parent. The next one is the malignant narcissistic parent. And these narcissistic parents are very manipulative, very exploitative, and they lie a lot. They lie a lot, in order to establish control over their children, these malignant narcissistic parents, they take help of everything: deceit, lies, manipulation, exploitation. They go to any extent just to have that control and dominance over kids. And these parents are very impulsive and careless. They are not concerned about you know uh, how that child feels, or they are not concerned about you know appearing, or attending a parent teacher meeting or any of the activities that happens in the child's school. These parents are not interested in all of that. These parents are purely interested how to establish better control over the children, so that these children can fulfill their needs. So these malignant narcissistic parents are filled with all lies and all distorted version of stories, and oh, I did this so much, and do you think you can do so much for us, guilt tripping the kid. I sacrifice so much. Do you think you can ever sacrifice that much for me? Do you think you can pay us back? No, you can't. So all kinds of these manipulative, exploitative mind games is there, when it comes to these malignant narcissistic parent. And these parents, I mean, if one is malignant narcissistic parent, they tend to influence the other parent also, to become like them. And they say that this is the right way to manage the child, to manage the kid, and to establish control, or else he or she might just go out of hand, or else he or she might just be out of hand and might get into something, or we might lose control. So these malignant narcissistic parent also educates their partner, I mean the other parent also, and they try and work together to establish control. Their control is based on lies, manipulative stories and guilt tripping. So it's a very extreme negative version of a parent, this malignant narcissistic parent. The next one is covert narcissistic parent. Yes, in the past I have talked about covert narcissism and covert narcissists. So what are the covert narcissistic parents? So these covert narcissistic parents are all the time pretending to be victim and vulnerable. They want that control. They want to control you. They want to have your autonomy. They want their needs to be met, and you are the carrier of their needs, and you are supposed to fulfill their needs. But their presentation, the presentation of these covert narcissistic parent is that they are all the time vulnerable. They show and pretend as if they are vulnerable, and they had always been victimized. So by representing themselves in such a way, the child gets into that mode of parentification, that, oh no, now I'll do it, I'll fix everything, mom, for you, I'll fix everything, dad, for you. Don't worry, you don't have to suffer. You have gone through so much. You had been victim of so much of abuse, exploitation. Mom, I'm going to do it. And when the child gets into that parentification, the child, as it is, loses the sense of self, and they are just into fulfilling the needs of the parent. So these covert narcissistic parents are too much into playing victim, too much into playing vulnerable, too much into playing weak, so that the child takes up parentification. The child takes up, the child, tries to become a parent himself or herself. And, they don't have to do much work. These covert narcissistic parent, they really don't have to do much work. They just have to pretend vulnerable. Oh God, you don't know what I have gone through raising you. You have got no idea how much I have suffered, how much your grandmother made me suffer. You don't know how much your father made me suffer. And the child, as it is, hears one version of the story, and the child wants to take up a role, and the child wants to become the other parent. and the child wants to fix everything, and the child gets into that trap, and that trap further deteriorates the child, further spoils the life of that child. I mean, like, we all have gone through, and I'm sure a lot of your parents must have these signs and symptoms, or they might be in one of the categories that I'm talking about. Yeah, so that was all about covert narcissistic parent, pretending to be the victim, pretending to be vulnerable, weak, helpless, and you have to do the work. Yeah, so that is how they establish. Yeah, that is how they establish the control indirectly. Yeah. Oh, look, they have done so much. I don't know, when will I experience it? I can't do anything myself. I don't know, when will I experience it? So the child says, no, no, I'll make you experience it. Don't worry, I'll do it. So the child doesn't know how he or she would do it, but the child takes up the challenge, and then the child goes through a lot of turmoil and problem. The child doesn't know his forte, the child doesn't know his or her uniqueness, abilities they have not explored and mastered. Instead, they just get into the process of fulfilling others' needs. So yes, this was all about covert narcissistic parents. They are equally dangerous but very manipulative, and all the time pretending to be victims. The next type is communal narcissistic parent, and these communal narcissistic parents are very social, outgoing, and they are involved into a lot of charitable work and a lot of community work, religious work, and they follow religion um, uh, wholeheartedly, and sometimes they even follow more than the usual. They appear to be extremely religious, they appear to be very charitable, and they want to be seen as a savior in the society. Yeah, I mean, they want to be seen as a savior in their society, in their community, these communal narcissistic parents. But these parents are least bothered about what's happening in the house. These parents are least bothered about what kids are going through. These parents are emotionally unavailable. They care least about what children's want, they don't want, and they are very disconnected from their children. They might not remember their children's birthday, they might not remember their children's favorite color, favorite food, favorite toy, favorite game, favorite story. They just don't know, because they are so busy with this mission to look good. They are so busy to appear good and look like a savior in their community and in their society. So they are very much disconnected from their children, and they have those fix set of standards that they want their children to meet, and they are least concerned how the children will meet, or if the children are having any challenges. These communal narcissistic parents are kind of parents who are all the time out of the house and family, and they are rarely present in the house, and they are rarely bothered as to take part in parenting, and in that entire growing up process of a child. So they are not there, they are just they have their own mission to look like a savior and to get all those praises, and they are very disconnected from the children. They just want the children to be a certain way, and these communal narcissistic parents spend a lot outside, but they don't spend much on their children, because they are more obsessed about getting that validation from the society, from the community. Oh, you have been a savior, but they don't come to rescue the children. They don't come to rescue their partner or the other parent. So these communal narcissistic parents are very selfish, they are very disconnected, emotionally unavailable for their children, and if anything goes wrong with the children, or if anything goes wrong in the family, they'll blame the children, and they'll blame they'll be outrightly blaming the other parent. So yes, these communal narcissistic parents don't take up any blame they have their own mission to accomplish, and that's it. That's how it is. Children can go and do things by themselves, but they have to fit the guidelines and the rules laid out by these communal narcissistic parent, because they as it is want to be the savior, and they don't want to look ugly in public. They want to do not look, they really don't want to look ugly as a parent in public. So they lay out their standards and protocols and the levels that the children have to match up and the children have to resonate to. And if they don't, the children will be blamed or the other parent. That's it. So that is all about communal narcissistic parent. The next type is the neglectful narcissistic parent. And these neglectful narcissistic parents are they are not available emotionally, or in they are just not available for their children. uh, they might be there in the family, but they really don't interact much, they really don't communicate much with the children, and they are not available. They only arise when they're when they have some needs. Yeah, when they want their needs to be met, then they arise. Otherwise they are working, they are in their own world, they are just least bothered. Children are there, fine, it's the job of the other parent to do the parenting, and I have to do what I have to do. If I need something, then I'll come into the scene. So this is how these neglectful narcissistic parents see. They are very disengaged and remote. Some of them don't even stay in the family. They choose to be a little separate, aloof, and let the other parent do the caretaking and take care of the upbringing of the children. They stay away, they are very disconnected, and they are just not interested in kids. If they don't have any interest, they are only interested in their own kids when they have some interest, and when they want some of their needs to be met and fulfilled. So yes, this was neglectful narcissistic parent. There is one more type of narcissistic parent, and that is self-righteous narcissistic parent. Yes, they portray righteousness all the time, and they are often group of a member of some cult or some religion, and they are extremely absorbed in that religion and cult, these self-righteous narcissistic parent. And they criticize others, they criticize anyone and everyone who is not like them or who doesn't agree to them. I mean, this category of narcissistic parents. So they criticize anyone and everyone who disagrees to them, or whose way of looking at things is different, or whose way of living is different, whose way of understanding things is different. It's all bad. It's either their way or the highway. These self-righteous narcissistic parents, and being the being a part of a religion or a cult, these self-righteous narcissistic parent have a very elated sense of self, and they have got a heightened ego, and they feel even more entitled. They feel that they are the only ones out there who deserve everything, otherwise no one should exist. And when it comes to their behavior, they are very rigid. They really don't want to change, they cannot accept changes, and they're very judgmental, and you have to play by their rules. If you don't, you are a bad kid. I mean, these self-righteous narcissistic parents are really obsessed with religion, cult, and all of that. They have their own list of righteousness and right activities and wrong activities, and if you don't follow that, if you don't fit into that, you are a miserable kid. And they make sure that the children knows that if they can be the way how the parents want, the narcissistic parent wants, it's all right, they'll be loved. But if they are not like that, or if they are not the way how they want them to be, these kids will be invalidated, dehumanized. These kids will not be heard and seen, so devalued. These kids will be devalued. So and these these parents, these self-righteous narcissistic parents, uh, keep telling a list of paybacks that the children has to, do for the parent, and they say that this is how it is. This is what our religion, this is what our cult, and this is what our culture and community, whatever they identify with, this is what it teaches, that you have to pay back. What I'm doing needs to be paid back. When my time comes, you have to give it back to me. I'm doing it, only because one day you'll pay back. You'll do this for me. You'll do that for me. So there's list of things that you'll have to do this and that. So yes, these are also a kind of a nightmare for a kid. These kind of parents, and self-righteous parents, self-righteous narcissistic parents assume that they are the best. They are the ones who know the best interest. They are the ones who have the best interest for their kids. They know it all, and what they are thinking and doing and forcing their kids to do, that is what right is in this world. And everyone should be like these narcissistic parents. Anybody's thoughts and ideas which is contradictory, or which is challenging, or which is against, or which is opposite to the thoughts and ideas that these self-righteous narcissistic parents live by, they are bad people. They don't exist. So this is also one of the kinds of a narcissistic parent. Overall, if you see, narcissists cannot be a good parent. I mean, based on my experience and the amount of research and study that I have done on narcissism, I personally feel narcissists can never be a good parent, because you know they want the child in a certain way. They want certain things out of the child. It's never selfless. And the children feel very pressured having narcissistic parents, because they are not allowed to be themselves. These narcissistic parents always want to control, they want to manipulate. There is this invisible unhealthy environment in a family that has got narcissistic parent, and that really stunts the growth of a child. And I mean, it creates a lot of problem. The children grow up being, the children grow up having dependency issues. The children grow up having low self-esteem. The children grow up having a lot of anxiety and stress. The children grow up with a lot of depression, it's seen. And also the children grow up with children that are raised by narcissistic parents often grow up with habits of, or addictions, different kinds of addictions and substance abuse. They are also involved in that. So overall, it's not healthy. I mean, I shouldn't be saying this, but people should analyze and understand if they are narcissists, and if they cannot heal themselves, or if they cannot improve themselves. I don't think they should get into having a family, because a family is an entire unit working together. Everyone has a role and equal participation. It can't be just one way. And of course, parenting is not just one parent's job. It's two working together, and then the kids are also growing. All of them are working together and being happy together. So yes, it really it's never good uh, to be raised by narcissists. And if someone knows that they are narcissists, and if they are unable to heal themselves, or they are unable to change themselves, I think they should avoid from having a family. Because a family is a lot more than just bringing in money and having sex and reproducing. Family is basically a unit of different individual beings working together for the betterment of all. being together and helping each other out. It's not just one way process. So I have a different stand. I have a different way of looking at family. Families are very interesting thing, and it needs to be done very mindfully, not just that my father pushed me, I got married, I am a narcissistic person, I don't heal myself, I don't know even how I am, and I start having kids and I ruin their life. What is the point? Yeah. So it's a never ending cycle of chaos, pain, suffering. So yes, narcissistic people are never good parents. And I mean, if you can talk about it, if you are raised by a narcissistic parent, you need a lot of work to do with yourself. You need to do a lot of healing, and you need to talk to them. You need to create boundaries, or else you'll keep on suffering. The suffering never ends. So yes, this was all about different kinds of narcissistic parents, and there are subtypes also. I don't want to go into that now, but these are the basic ones, majorly these 5 kinds. So yes, this was all about narcissistic parents, the different kinds of narcissistic parents out there. In case if you want to add in something to it, you can always comment below, and please like, share, subscribe the channel, and please heal yourself, focus on your healing, focus on yourself, and first look into your needs rather than fulfilling others' needs. Be a little selfish towards yourself. Yes, take care of yourself. Lots of love and blessings to all of you. Bye.